Hey everybody, it's me, Mary Z, back once again. You know it means business when I've got the glasses on. I'm ready to go. We're going to take a look at a singer that you have requested. This was based entirely on your recommendations. If you don't know me, I'm a rock and metal vocal coach and vocalist. And sometimes I feel like it's really, really weird that music that I've performed and studied for decades and that I coach people on every day is sort of fetishized on the internet. It's so weird to me to see regular vocal coaches or classical singers or whoever it may be sort of react to metal for the first time when it's been such a part of my life for the last 30 years. Two can play at this game. And because I'm so immersed in the rock and metal scene, I definitely do miss out on regular singers. So I've been asking for your suggestions, and we are going to take a look at Diana Ankudinova. I hope I'm saying that right. First time reaction. This was also, I've been told by your comments, a low-voiced person. So I would really like to hear how this goes, and we're just going to dive right in and check it out. Also, fill me in. What's the show mask go on? Tell me a little bit about this in the comments. I'm an American, so this is unfamiliar to me. Whoa. Wow. Very dark. Wow, beautiful. So, okay. So, all right. Pause. I already have some commentary. Today is going to be a big lesson in timbre versus range, which means the tone of someone's voice versus where it starts and ends on the piano. And here we're hearing a lot of stuff having to do with the tone in addition to range. Let's keep going. So now we jump an octave here. So really quick, for those of you that are sort of new to singing stuff, octaves are sets of 8 notes on the piano. We opened up on the was, and then we jumped up to was. This is the same note. The letters repeat on the piano, and everybody that's a musician that's watching, you already know this. I'm not saying that for you. I'm saying that for all the people watching who are like, what's an octave, you know? And also just remember people who already know music who want to be snobby about it. Somebody turns 18 every single day. So it's not like people are not born with this knowledge. They have to learn to be a beginner somewhere. So she's singing the same note. It's not changing key. That's a different thing. We'll talk about that later. But an octave higher. So the same letter on the piano, but up in the higher part of the piano instead of the lower part of the piano. So let's keep listening. We're going to talk a lot more about this. Gorgeous. This kind of color is really, really rare, by the way. This is not very common. There's some kind of backing track here. Doesn't mean that her... This is a dramatic arrangement. Beautiful. Wow. What a tone. Okay. Beautiful. All right. Let's pause. I don't care what the judges have to say. So let's go back. A lot of really brilliant stuff happening at once. First of all, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the tone of the voice, the timbre, the color. Yes, that is the word timbre in English. And of course, American English, we say it like timbre. It is not timbre or something weird. And it's specifically because we want to distinguish it from the other English word of timber, which is the lumber cutting down trees, timber. Timbre is how we would say it. So like a synonym would be color, tone. If I have two different acoustic guitars and they have the same tune strings and they're tuned to the same key, why does one sound different than the other? The timbre, the tone. If I have different vocalists with the same note range on the piano, but maybe they have all different tones. For example, if you had Kelly Clarkson, Celine Dion, and Mariah Carey all singing the same song, you could close your eyes and tell me which one it is based on their timbre or tone, even though stylistically they're singing in the same genres. So like they're not opera singing versus pop belting. They're all going to basically be pop belting, and they're all sopranos, which means their voice ranges sit in the same part of the piano, similar part. So their tone, their timbre is what would distinguish them. So first of all, Diana here has a very, very extraordinary tone, some of which I've only heard tones like this in classical. I think the closest maybe we could get in non-classical singing, at least that I'm familiar with. Just keep in mind, I am not omnipotent, folks. I don't know every singer that ever existed. So if you want to leave some exceptions in the comments, please do. To me, the fastest references I can think of someone with dark tones outside of classical music would be Cher or Nina Simone, maybe have these kind of dark timbres to their voice. A little bit Toni Braxton. I want to go back because this type of dark tone can be on a voice range that is not necessarily contralto. A lot of you guys tagged me in this because I have a really low voice, and I also kind of help people with low voices out a little bit and talk about that. I teach people with high voices too to get their power and their range and all that. Definitely, I think I pay more attention to low voices than the average vocal coach. One thing I talk a lot about is the female low voices and contralto versus mezzo. So when you have a really, really dark timbre like this in classical singing, the traditional is to call them a dramatic voice type. The thing is you could be a dramatic soprano and you could be a dramatic mezzo, which is like the middle, or a dramatic contralto. I would consider my pitch range personally as contralto, but you can hear from my talking voice, yes, it's very dark and low, but it isn't quite as dark as this is. Now, the real question is this a dramatic mezzo, which is more the medium to medium low type, or an actual contralto? Some of you were leaving me notes in the comments about what pitches she's singing here, and I actually think some of you are wrong. I'm sorry. I know. Don't hate. I'm not a hater. I'm just trying to help you guys as a teacher, and being accurate is important. We're going to take a look here. The timbre is going to make us think that these notes are an octave lower than they are, and they're actually not as low as we think. And not that this person cannot sing incredibly low. I'm talking about this specific song. One song cannot be a representation of a person's entire vocal range, okay? The lowest notes were at this but I. Here we go. Let's find it. It's C to C sharp, right? But I think either a contralto or a mezzo, but I, could make that sound husky down there. But it does kind of sound like it could be this person's lowest notes. In that case, this would be more of a dramatic mezzo soprano rather than contralto, because contraltos would be a little bit easier. But I, because contraltos can get down, beyond C3. So C3 becomes a more comfortable sounding note. Tone and range are not the same thing. Tone and range are not the same thing. Timbre and range are two different things. I do really think she is a contralto, not a mezzo. The biggest thing I'm trying to say here is I think this note is in the third octave, not the second octave. So a lot of you guys were saying that these were the notes she was singing. But but this not in this octave. It's the timbre of the voice deceiving you, which is amazing. It's such a beautiful timbre, and I like that it's deceptive. And she should keep singing and using this beautiful color, but it's not down here in bass baritone land. This is not C to C sharp 2. It's C3. Here we go. Yeah. There it is. That's it. It's not. Let's go back. We'll double check, but. It's not that. It's this. But if you want, though, I'd be curious to hear from someone with really, really honed perfect pitch, or any other professional musicians out there with really good relative pitch. And that dark timbre is going to expand throughout her entire register. I'll do a part 2 where we take a look at another song, and we'll take a look at that, because that's going to be present in a lot of songs. Then how high does this actually go? I also want to be clear, this is not the arrangement of Elvis doing this song. This has been altered melodically, and this is a very dramatic arrangement, and it's also in a very, very specific pitch range that fits exactly the edges of this vocalist's performable vocal range. Okay, I really love this arrangement, because for me, I'm like, as a contralto voice, I'm like, wow, this is something that could fit in my vocal range, right? It's exciting to find things like that. So if you're a soprano, or you feel like you're more of a mezzo, where that, like, this C sharp is really just pushing it too much, I would raise the key of this entire piece, because even the high notes are still high only relative to a contralto. It's very high for a contralto, which she did. This, I believe this spans about 3 octaves. So let's take a look here and find out exactly what it is, the highest note. So the highest note was that. It also sounds like this is minor, and I think the original is major. It's a very dramatic arrangement that spans many octaves of the piano. So the highest note here is B flat 5. So this is totally like a textbook contralto, possibly mezzo. The mezzos, you might find that your lowest note is D3 instead of C3. It might only be like a whole step, but you don't really want to sing songs to where it's like your lowest note. It needs to be more comfortable. And that's why I'm saying she's probably is a contralto, but a mezzo could have a timbre like this. There are dramatic mezzos as well. It's not just contraltos. Sopranos, you could do this song as well. But again, you're going to really want to shift this. Some of you high voice sopranos might need to shift this an entire octave. The relative amount of notes you should still have, though, as long as you're a trained singer. This would need to be a trained singer. The song has to be written that way. The script has to be there for the acting to be good. And it's the same with music. If you don't have a dramatic song with lots of room for this to grow and these orchestral parts and the whole deal, you can't just perform it like this. You can't perform Happy Birthday like this. So if you want to do some impressive stuff, you've got to sing a song that's going to allow for that, and actually most songs don't do stuff like this. So it's a really unique and really cool arrangement. This requires different types of singing. As far as timbre goes, you're not going to be able to imitate this. Do not try to impersonate this. This is actually the natural sound of this person, and she has something physiologically extraordinary allowing for that to happen. We would need to take a look inside, but I'm guessing it has to do with like the dome. People can have exceptionally high. I had a vocal client once with an exceptionally raised hard palate, and there was a similar thing kind of happening, but it wasn't quite this deep. I mean, this person could also have a really raised soft palate, or a Freddie Mercury situation where we just have like more teeth and something is actually bigger. She does have a really wide face and high cheekbones, but so do a lot of people. She looks similar to a lot of people who don't sound like her. I think we would need to get inside there and look and see what's really making this timbre happen. Certainly vocal fold structure, but again, mezzo or contralto is a natural female voice type, even though it's not as common as the soprano, and in mezzos and contraltos doesn't always sound like this. This is an exceptionally unique, beautiful, dark timbre. Just let your resonance be where it is. But I can help. I'm singing it, but my timbre, even though I have a similar note range, is not the same. It's much brighter. And I shouldn't try to artificially darken it. I mean, it's already pretty dark. Just that this voice is exceptionally dark. Your singing sounds best when you let your timbre be the way that it is, when you have your best resonance. In this case, this is going to require multiple singing styles. For the most part, she uses what I call like a mixed voice. Hold on, let me show you from the beginning here. So only the notes below middle C in this song, below this note, which is a lot of it, the beginning, even those are probably being performed in a little bit more of a classical way. With you. I guess I could get a somewhat darker timbre if I don't belt it. With you is my regular rock belting voice, chest voice, which I hate the term chest voice. With you would be my rock. With you. So I do think maybe she's classically singing, but I would say when we get up the octave here for the second half, she switches to what I call the mixed voice. Like falling in love with you, which is right here. And then for the highest notes, it's going to go this way, straight vertical. If you want to know a little bit more about that, go in my channel, go in the clean singing tutorials. My last note is there's more than one voice that comes in at certain spots, and this person's only singing one line. This is very common. I've done this many times myself where we have voices on the backing track that are not my voice. I'm singing live because this is just modern production. But I just want to be clear that is adding to what you're hearing and enhancing it. And if you don't close your eyes and pay close attention, you might not realize it's there. Right here, I hear a double there in the same octave, you, in the background. But then here... there's a whole chorus in the back. You hear this chorus backing track here? Like this choir of vocals behind her when she's not singing. Again, it's a backing track. It isn't lip syncing. I think she's performing the vocals live, but there's definitely additional voices in the backing track. Yeah, they're like, whatever they're doing behind her. So it's certainly adding to the drama. And then we even hear back there, like a really, high, like operatic type of backing vocal. Yeah, they're going, behind her, very like Pirates of the Caribbean. So just kind of be aware, you guys, like this is really epic performance. Mad respect to this vocalist for owning her absolutely beautifully dark timbre and low voice. But just be aware, there is a lot going on here. And I'm not trying to unmask some of the production to diminish what this vocalist is doing. This has to be a trained vocalist doing this with a lot of practice and experience and planning, getting the epic arrangements, putting it in the right key, all this type of stuff. But the reason I'm telling you this is because you watch these videos and you want to know how to do it. And that's why there is magic in entertainment. It's like sleight of hand. I'm here to teach you some of it because just like a magician, you've got to learn to do it somewhere if you want to try to do it. So don't try to make your voice darker. When you do that, it sounds like, it usually sounds froggy. falling in. And then we call that overcovering in singing. It's actually like losing resonance. She sounds like this because of the way her body is shaped somehow. That dark timbre is present on all the different styles and placements that she's using. You guys, you got to own your voice, just like she had to learn to own this color. This is a dark color. This is difficult to own a voice like this. And if you have a high, bright voice, you need to learn to own it too. You know, it's just not, it just is what it is. So you have to own what you got. Okay. So everybody, if you want to know more about lessons with me and all that cool stuff, all the links are below. Be sure to click on it. Check out my courses and my video series here on YouTube. And let me know some more details about this vocalist, this show. Leave your comments about who you want me to react to next. Now the tables have turned. Metal rock vocalist and vocal coach reacting to normal singers, regular singers, I guess, outside of, this isn't normal, I would say. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.